Comedy Now, starring Ron Sparks. Please welcome Ron Sparks.
Hey, everybody. I'm Ron. I'm pretty creepy. But I can also be quite hilarious, so we'll just see which one of me shows up tonight. So I had a doctor's appointment a couple of months ago. So when I left his office, I stole one of his prescription pads. Every once in a while, I just like to scribble on it. Take it down to the pharmacy. See what I end up with. Yeah, just so you know, kind of a football shape with a squiggly line through it. That's Riddle. But a softball shape with a squiggly line through it. That's estrogen. Then the other day, I ran out of dog food. So I gave my dog cat food. Now he's gay. So it's great to be here recording my first ever stand-up special. To be honest, though, it's just great to be doing stand-up again at all. I love it, and I haven't been getting to do much stand-up for the last, 8 months now. I've been doing a lot of traveling. A lot of people don't like to travel, but I really enjoy it. You know, it's fascinating. Actually, just this last flight back from Halifax was really entertaining for me because on the plane, they sat me next to this elderly American woman, which would have been fine if she had just stayed shut up. But no, she decided to jumpstart the conversation. Not in any typical way either, you know. She didn't want to talk about the weather or our trip or her stupid family or anything. No, she decided to give me a riddle. Yeah, about a half hour into the flight, she was like, "Hey, young man, I got a riddle for you. So a plane crashes." Already a great way to start. Considering we were currently flying on a plane, and she just woke me up, and she looked exactly like death. But anyway, she said, "Hey, young man, I got a riddle for you. So a plane crashes right on the border. And on board, there's 200 Americans and 200 Canadians. Where do you bury the survivors?" So I said, "Canada." And she said, "Wrong. You wouldn't bury the survivors." So I said, "You don't know me." I bury who I want, where I want. So you better shut up, you old bat. Anyway, long story short, rest of the flight, very quiet. So yeah, I love to fly. I didn't fly to get here tonight, though. I actually just live a few blocks north, so I just took the subway. Seemed much more practical. Besides, I think the subway is pretty much exactly the same thing as flying on a plane anyway. You know, just with a lot more poo and pee. But yeah, I was really excited getting back in town, getting on the subway for the first time again, to see that they're still running those old ads I love at my station. Anybody here who's ever been on the Toronto subway, I'm sure you know the ads I mean exactly. They're the ones that say, I love them. They're like, "Hey, you could save $863 by taking the subway instead of using a car. That's enough to buy a new boat for the cottage." Yeah, sure, but just how the hell am I supposed to get to this cottage? By boat? Because let me tell you something, sign. If you can get to your cottage by taking the subway, I can pretty much guarantee that you own one shitty-ass cottage. Well, here we are, Mom and Dad. Kipling Station. And there she is, my beautiful cottage. Right between the Tim Hortons and the liquor store. How convenient for each of you. Something else that's been confusing me lately is one of those big American Six Flag theme parks down in Chicago, I think it is. They announced recently they're going to be spending $20 million to build what they're calling the world's scariest roller coaster. Yeah, that sounds really impressive at first, but I have to admit that the more I think about it, the less I get it, you know? Like, if you're really out to just scare people, do you really think it's necessary to build a $20 million roller coaster? You know, like, well, you tell me, wouldn't you be even more scared getting onto a roller coaster they claim to have built for $600? Hey, everybody, come on down. Try our $600 roller coaster. Yeah. Basically, what we did here is we spent $500 on the raw materials, the balsa wood and the carpenter's glue, and then we gave 5 retards $20 each to slap it together. I'm pretty sure that explains why the whole thing's downhill like that. Anyway, if you're gonna get on, please just remember that you will die on this piece of crap roller coaster. And then famous filmmaker Steven Spielberg, director of Saving Private Ryan, he announced recently that his production company is going to be releasing a D-Day video game. Yeah, a big selling point of this video game, it's going to be ultra realistic, quote unquote, almost the real thing. And I think that is just fantastic. Because finally, I can go hang out down at the Legion and tell all the war veterans how I know exactly what they went through, huh? Yeah. Hey, old-timers, pour me another beer. What? No, I'm supposed to be here. I'm one of you. I'm a virtual veteran, and I know all about the hell we went through on D-Day. Oh, don't get me started on D-Day. But do you fellow heroes know what the worst part about D-Day was? I'll tell you what the worst part about D-Day was. Worst part about D-Day was the part where the Germans would shoot you in the face and your head would blow up, and then when you come back to life, you have to start over all the way back at the beginning. That's stupid and ridiculous. I don't want to have to start back at the beginning. I don't want to have to sit through the boring boat ride again. I want to start back on the beach where the action is. Because D-Day wasn't all bad, was it? No, there were some really cool parts about D-Day. Like, did any of you guys find the bonus level where you get to punch Hitler right in the balls? That was awesome. Graphics were amazing. I like the soundtrack, too. Green Day rocks. Thank you, veterans. So I was in for quite a surprise this past weekend, quite the surprise. I decided I'd go rent myself a movie to watch. So I went down to the video store, got the movie, and the surprise was I thought I had rented Pirates of the Caribbean, but it turns out what I had actually rented was But Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah, completely different movie. I gotta be honest though, it's at least partly my own fault. I should have known it was not the right movie just based on the picture on the cover. It was all wrong. Anyway, long story short, the parents of the kids I was babysitting, they were just furious. Oh, they were so angry at me. Oh, what a couple of homophobes, huh? Homophobes. Hey, gay people are people too. Homophobes. I don't even get their logic there either. So, you know, like I went out and rented a gay porn intentionally, on purpose. And you really think your kids are gonna turn gay just because I had them watch one gay porn movie all the way through? You know, like, I suppose I could have stopped it at some point, you know, but I'm just not one of those people. You know, I can't put a movie in and then just stop it before it's done. And when I start a movie, I gotta see how it finishes. When I start a movie, I gotta see how it ends. no matter how predictable it might be. And this movie, admittedly, pretty predictable. Yeah, you know how it ended? A gay bum orgy. Yeah. Just like it said on the cover, it ends like it begins. So anyway, yeah, parents were just furious, you know. I don't feel too bad, though. Like, I don't think the kids minded at all, you know. I think those kids honestly loved that movie. Like, they clearly really connected with it. I mean, once in a while, I remember I'd look over, and they just had tears in their eyes. They're not homophobes. I don't know if there's any other guys in the audience tonight who might have this problem, but I can't drive around in the same car with my girlfriend for more than 5 or 10 minutes without getting into like a huge argument, you know? So just this past summer, when a friend of mine got married in Thunder Bay, I decided, hey, let's drive. Because I have that, I'm a retard. Yeah, we drive all the way up to Thunder Bay. Of course, the whole way up to Thunder Bay, we're just fighting nonstop. You know, cats and dogs, fight, fight, fight. And I remember we got into one particularly heated argument right around Sault Ste. Marie. And I remember because, you know, we were just fighting, you know, we were screaming at each other in the car. And I was so angry. And then I saw the sign that said, welcome, you're in Sault Ste. Marie. So obviously, I got more angry. Because who the hell wants to be in Sault Ste. Marie? But the weird thing was, there was actually a second sign. You know, I remember it was like, the first sign was like, welcome, you're in Sault Ste. Marie. But then the second sign said, home of, and then some lady's name. So I said, yippee! We're in Sault Ste. Marie, home of some chick. Yeah, so my girlfriend's a feminist. So she got just furious with me, you know, just like I planned. And she said, I will have you know that she happens to be Canada's first woman in space. So I said, great. Now, if only the rest of you would join her. Maybe I could get some peace and quiet in my damn car. Anyway, that's the story of how I got a black eye in Sault Ste. Marie. So no, we fight, but I like my girlfriend. She's all right. I like my girlfriend, but you know who I don't like? My ex-girlfriend. She's a bitch. And she had a really disgusting habit that I hated. She smoked like all the time. It got to be a real problem for me, too, you know? It was just like the old saying goes, you know? Like, kissing her was like kissing an ashtray, you know? Or catching her with her pants down was like catching an ashtray with its pants down. Or running her up the flagpole, seeing if anybody saluted was like running an ashtray up the flagpole, seeing if anybody saluted. She smoked a lot. Anyway, I guess what I'm really trying to say is, I'm glad I shot her. No, I'm just kidding. I am just kidding. Why would you even think that? I am kidding. I did not shoot my ex-girlfriend. I did not shoot my ex-girlfriend. But she was Russian. And now you all know why I'm called the king of the Segway. No, my ex-girlfriend was Russian, and the fact that she didn't speak English very well, well, that resulted in a lot of hilarious miscommunications. I remember shortly before we broke up, in fact, I was saying, hey, Marina, why don't you run down to the kitchen, make me a roast beef sandwich, use whole wheat bread, and make it snappy. But she completely misunderstood. What she thought I said was, hey, Marina, why don't you pack your suitcase and move in with my best friend? It was so funny. She's still there. But, you know, everything worked out for the best, because it turns out they were already sleeping together. No, don't feel bad for me. Honestly, don't feel bad for me. I don't miss my ex-girlfriend at all, honestly. For one thing, Russian was not a very romantic language. You ever heard that debate before, language of love? You know, some people say the language of love is French, and other people say, no, Italian's the most romantic language. And still more people say, no, Spanish is the language of love. Yeah, well, I disagree with all that. I say the most romantic language must be Chinese. Otherwise, how would there get to be so many of them? But speaking of racism, I know what you're all thinking right now. You're sitting there looking at me and you're thinking, man, I wonder what Ron's favorite holiday is. Well, okay, I'll tell you. It surprises some people, but honestly, my favorite holiday is St. Patrick's Day. Yeah, I see some of you have heard of it. Yeah. Hooray for St. Patrick's Day. But no, I love St. Patrick's Day. I don't know what you guys like to do for St. Patrick's Day, but I like to drink. Yeah. And I'll admit that usually St. Patrick's Day, I drink a little too much. You know, I don't know when to quit always. But this year, St. Patrick's Day, I went way overboard. You know, I was nuts, out of my head, you know. Just drinking and drinking. People were like, you should stop. And I was like, no! You know, I just kept drinking it. I was so drunk, you know, I was so drunk and so wasted. Alcohol poisoning, you know, drunk, rolling around on the floor, puking all over myself, you know, screaming at people and shaking my fist at people that weren't even there, you know, holding onto the floor because I was afraid I was going to fall off and hit the ceiling for some reason. I was just drunk. I was so drunk. I was so wasted. It was awkward. It was so awkward because this year for St. Patrick's Day, I just stayed in with my parents. Oh, man, why? Something funny happened to me directly not too long ago. I was headed to the subway and was approached by a homeless man. Normally, that's not a problem. It happens in Toronto every once in a while. But usually it's no problem at all because it's just this quick little formulaic thing, you know. They say, hey, man, you got any money? And then you say, no, sorry. And then they say, all right, have a nice day, or something to that effect. But this guy, he had no idea how it was supposed to go. No, he said, hey, man, you got any money? And then I said, no, sorry, and continued on my way. But then he said, yeah? Well, you look like you do. So I said, thanks. Really? This old thing? You are such a kindly hobo. So I've written a children's song because I think there should be a song for every different kind of child. I don't have a title for it yet because I just wrote it on my way down here. But you can all let me know what you think. This is my children's song for Siamese twins. Well, your leg bone's connected to your knee bone. Your knee bone's connected to your thigh bone. And your thigh bone's connected to your brother's face. I hope you want to work in the circus. Now get back in your cage. Yeah, half of you are laughing and the other half are pretending they don't want to. You know what? Laugh it up. It's safe. Go ahead and laugh. It's safe. I know it's safe to laugh at that. You know how I know it's safe to laugh at that? Before I came out here on stage, I went to the coat room. I checked out all the coats. They all only had one neck hole. So none of those freaks are here tonight. So yuck it up, normies. I think the most embarrassing thing for a ninja to die of is a broken heart. But anyway, I was talking with a feminist the other day. I don't know why. At one point, she suggested to me that God might be a woman. So I said, come on. That is ridiculous. Use some logic. Because, if God was a woman, then the rest of you women wouldn't be so obviously inferior to us men in every possible way. Yeah, that offended her. So I did what any gentleman would do. I challenged her to a game of basketball. Beat her 21-0. And I remember, as I dunked on her head for the final humiliating 2 points, I hung from the rim for a moment. And I looked down at her and I said, yeah! Where's your lady god now, bitch? Now get off my court while you still have the right to vote. So, are there any ladies in the audience tonight? I only ask because I'm single. Ladies and gentlemen, my is huge. Anyway, you've been a wonderful audience. Good night.